And who else? I don't know. I guess you know.
Another one was just Sullivan.
So that was number 4 edition for Kevin M. Sullivan. Let's see, he's done 3 Bundys and Kentucky Bloodbath now, with a lot of talk about the death penalty, which we are always on the same page on, and I know you agree too. I mean, you and I are fascinated by serial killers, but we both know that they need to die.
Yeah. I mean, my fascination, like, I want to see them die, though, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes
I'll be honest with you. I'm a sick person. I would pay for it on pay-per-view. I've told you, and I would. Yeah. If there could be a subscription streaming service to see these people be done with the world, I'm all about it. You know.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I think we could pay down the national deficit with that. Just
saying. I love it.
So okay. So anyway, that's 4 for him. Let's see. I want to compare versus Ray Johnson because we have so many Ray visits. Okay, let's count back. Okay, Ray's first visit with us was the H.H. Holmes show, and then what was his second visit? Vic Gacy. Gacy was his second visit.
Yeah, Gacy. Yeah.
And then St. Valentine's Day Massacre, St. Patrick's Day, the year they canceled St. Patrick's Day, Memorial Day Massacre. That's 5. Starved Rock Murders, that's 6, and now 7 with the Great Chicago Fire. So Kevin's got 3 more to catch up with Ray, but with 8 more books that we got to talk about at some point. I think he can do it, you know. But Chicago's just such a violent hellhole.
I'm saying that's assuming we're never going to talk to Ray again, which you know better.
Yeah, I do know better. But it's nice to have John Boda, too, because he's a wealth of knowledge. He's a really smart guy, wasn't he, last week on Great Chicago Fire? If you guys haven't heard that and you're wondering why the hell are we talking about Great Chicago Fire on a horror podcast, where horror encompasses a lot of things, I feel like, Vic. You know, it encompasses true crime. It encompasses tragedies. You know, if we wanted to get on here and talk 9/11, we could do that because it was a horror. Anybody who lived through it knows that. Luckily, we didn't have to go through it. But you know what I mean? If we wanted to do that, we could because it's horror. But at the end of the day, fuck you. It's our podcast. We'll do what we want.
Yeah, basically.
So how about that? Like a lit show 2 weeks ago. So, Vic, I want to get into, I said like a lit show a couple weeks ago, Top 10 Horror Movie Kills. That was such a fun show.
It was.
I'll never feel like my list was complete. You know what I mean? I felt like my 1 through 5 was pretty good, but the rest of it I could have just screwed around with and been happy either way. But okay, so I guess it's that portion of the program where we talk about, where our horror adventures have taken us. We've already talked about how Scarefest is our next big adventure, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've been watching. And for the love of God, I think I just deleted what the hell my list was. So, Vic, why don't you talk first, at least one movie, and then I'll get to mine.
All right, I got my list right here, so we can just go down real quick.
You do one of them, and then I'll do the one I've got. And
okay.
Then we'll just go back and forth, okay?
Earlier last week, I watched a movie called #Horror. It's on Netflix.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's not very awesome. Like, you know,
about as good as Smiley, I bet.
Yeah, that's that good. Maybe a little better, a little worse. Like, you would think a movie named #Horror would be cool. Actually, you probably wouldn't think that. And yeah, I got about what I expected. I gave it a 1.5 out of 4. I wouldn't waste my time.
Now, was this Netflix or was it Screenbox?
This was on Netflix.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, it sucks.
So would you say 1.5 out of 4?
Yeah, 1.5 out of 4.
That's pretty garbage.
Yeah. It's like on the level of like Antisocial. Maybe not quite as bad as Antisocial, but it's pretty bad.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's see here. I'll get into Devil's Candy. I just watched that a couple of days ago, or yesterday, in fact. And, Vic, it really reminded me, and this is scary, of Lords of Salem, because it was all about satanic imagery. And I guess for some people that's scary. For me, I just think it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? I just do. It doesn't scare me at all. But it was kind of like a possessed house / satanic imagery thing. But there was a guy who was kind of a killer in it. Same guy from Identity who was, well, you'd have to see Identity and know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it. But anyway, the last 15 minutes or so of the movie were really good. The actual ending itself, not so good. And the movie as a whole, first time I've ever done this, but I gave it 2.25 out of 4 because it couldn't be quite 2.5, and it wasn't quite 2. I had to go somewhere in the middle. I would say anybody who wants to watch it, you should, but just once, and don't rush to do it. It was on, I think it was on Netflix, but it might have been Hulu. Yeah. Either way, Devil's Candy. Yeah, it's not a terrible movie by any means, but it took a long time for me to give a shit. And it wasn't a movie that was interesting while I was taking a while to give a shit. On the flip side, let me do another movie real quick, and this is a movie I've seen before. And maybe it's not straight horror, maybe it's more of a thriller. But The Number 23, have you ever heard of it? I'm sure you have.
I've heard of it, yeah. I've never seen it, though.
With Jim Carrey. And I saw this years ago. I mean, it was previous marriage years ago. And, you know, it's about all the meanings that the number 23 has. But basically, the whole thing boils down to you can pretty much fuck with anything and turn it into the number 23. If you play with the numbers or letters of something enough, you can get it down to 23 one way or another. Anyway, the whole twist in it I remembered, but I couldn't remember the whole movie, you know, the way it went or anything like that. And it was still good. I'd give it 3 out of 4. I liked it. I still to this day like it, and I think a lot of people shit on it, but I think it was a pretty good movie. You know, so 3 out of 4 for that one. Vicky, you go ahead with your next movie.
All right, I watched a movie on Screenbox. So you know it's got a fairly disgusting and not well received nationally or whatever. It's called Do Not Disturb or Do Not Disturb, but it was originally released in 2010 under a different name. Called New Terminal Hotel. And honestly, I thought it was fairly decent. But like the biggest thing I caught out of this movie is the fact that it was Corey Haim's last role before he died. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome whenever I actually just
what year was that?
It came out in 2000, or it originally came out in 2010 under the different name. And it was re-released in 2013 under Do Not Disturb.
Corey Haim was kind of, by that point, dude was barely functional. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even seem like a human at that point. I'm surprised Feldman's lasted as long as he has.
You and me both.
So I guess props to him for kicking the drug habit. He's still weird, though.
He's very weird. He's very weird. But I give it a 2.5 out of 4.
That's not terrible. You know what I mean? I gave a lot of movies 2.5 out of 4. God, I got a lot of movies to talk about, don't I?
Like I said in our group when I did the review, I would watch it. I mean, you don't have to go out of your way to watch it, but hey, if it's there, then I'd watch it.
Everybody look up 31 Days of, what's the name of it, Vic? I'm looking it up. Hey, 31 Horror Movies in 31 Days. It's a group. We're part of it. And if you've got movies that you see, you can talk about it in this group. Here's another one, Jawbreaker. Now, Hulu lies and says it's a horror. It's actually a good movie, though. Rose McGowan and Rebecca Gayheart are in it, and they're both hot in this movie, so it tells you it's 1999. And it's more of a comedy, like a comedy-crime comedy, and it was pretty good. You could tell it was fucking 90s as hell, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. It was worth watching once, for sure. So 3 out of 4 for Jawbreaker. It's on Hulu right now. I already gave Devil's Candy its fucking review. Okay, so here's another one, Vic. Among Friends. Danielle Harris directed this. And this is a movie that reminded me a lot of Would You Rather, because it's basically just a bunch of people sitting at a table and having fucked up things done to them or having it done to each other. And it's not bad. It really isn't. It gets shit on IMDb, but it's not terrible at all. This is another one of those that I'll give 2.5 out of 4 to. You got some good cameos, the best of which is Kane Hodder getting out of a car, seeing a girl, and he's like, I bet you suck a good dick. And then he sees a guy, and he's like, I bet you do too. And he's disgusted by him. It was fucking great. Kane Hodder's cameo was awesome. You also get Michael Biehn from Terminator in it. And I think Aliens. Yeah, he was in Aliens also. And then you also get a cameo from Miss Harris herself in her clown costume. And this girl's like having some sort of a freak out, and she's like, that's the girl from Halloween. So, 2.5 for Among Friends. It's not a terrible movie, and I'd like to see Danielle Harris get another chance at it. At directing. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't. It was just like so low budget that the music and the fucking camera work was horrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just really bad as far as that goes. But beyond that, it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. In fact, I'd watch it again. So it wasn't terrible. Now what? The fuck else do I have going on?
I got one more, please, sir. I got one more for you.
Go ahead.
All righty. Well, the long-awaited, the much-anticipated Leatherface. It hit the streaming sites the other day, it hit DirecTV. That's all I know. So I bit the bullet. I paid my $10.95 and I rented Leatherface.
You're a Leatherface guy.
I am a Leatherface guy. I do not regret at all paying the money to rent this movie, because honestly, it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. I enjoyed it.
Can you tell me something? Can you explain what you mean it's not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie without spoiling too much? Because you said that a couple times, and I want to know what you mean specifically.
Because, I mean, so you don't have, like, your normal family. You don't have your... Like, Leatherface is in it, but he's a kid for the majority of the movie. So, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all about him growing up. And, like, I don't care about Jet Sawyer growing up as getting picked on in school, or, as a not even so much in school, but he was, like, a juvenile delinquent. He was in, like, jail, or not jail, but, like, halfway house or something. Like, I don't care about that.
That story doesn't work for me anyway. I like the story of him having fucking skin condition, to be honest. And, like, Tyler bitches about that, my cousin, but I like that as a story for him. I think that's a good background.
I don't need my Leatherface having a backstory, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, I don't either, but if you're going to have one, that's as good as any. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But to me, whenever I sit here and I watch Leatherface, like, it's not given the name Texas Chainsaw Massacre for a reason, in my opinion. But, like, the best way it's sort of like how me and you, we love Halloween 3, right?
Yes.
But like I tell everybody else, I'm like, if you don't like Halloween 3, watch it as, like, it's not part of the Halloween series, and you'll love it.
Call it Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you love
Leatherface. Do what?
I had another comparison for it, and I haven't even seen Leatherface yet. Like I always say about Halloween, the remake, Rob Zombie's Halloween, that's not Michael Myers to me, but it's an awesome fucking slasher.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That is not Michael Myers to me, but it's a fucking badass slasher. In fact, it's one of the greatest slashers of of this generation right now. But it's not Michael Myers. And so when you start comparing it to the original and you're telling me it's not as good as the original, well, they're two different fucking movies. You know what I'm saying? And to me, they're two completely different characters, too.
Hey, I mean, there's plenty of times where I prefer to watch the remake over the original